To our next conversation. As political parties prepare for coming election, the People's Democratic Party PDP faces a deepening leadership crisis after the Court of Appeal upheld the judgment invalidating its November 2025 National Convention in Ibadan, Oyo State. Factions of the party are reacting to the verdict delivered by Justice Uche who headed the three-member panel. While the Kabiru Turaki-led National Working Committee said it will move to the Supreme Court to challenge the appeal court judgment over the party leadership, the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike said the court's decision offers the PDP a chance to rebuild and restore unity among its members. Now let's share the story with you.
Apart from electing the party's National Working Committee, the convention also suspended some allies of the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, over alleged anti-party activities. Those suspended included the National Secretary and the National Legal Advisor. Also suspended were Deputy National Legal Advisor and National Organizing Secretary. The appeal stemmed mainly from separate decisions handed in 2025 by two Federal High Court judges in Abuja, James Omotosho and Peter Linfu. There were also counter decisions from the Oyo State High Court and more recently the Federal High Court in Ibadan regarding the disputed convention. Despite the ruling stopping the convention ahead of the scheduled date, the organizers proceeded with it in Ibadan, Oyo State, between 15th and 16th November 2025, producing Mr. Turaki as national chairperson of the PDP alongside other national officers. However, dissatisfied with the decisions, the Turaki faction approached the Court of Appeal to challenge the jurisdiction of the Federal High Court to hear a suit seeking to stop party's planned national convention scheduled on 15th and 16th November last year in Ibadan. The Court of Appeal, in a three-member panel, unanimously dismissed the appeal. The court also awarded 2 million naira cost against the appellants, comprising Mr. Turaki and other members of the National Working Committee of the party. The court held that the Federal High Court had the jurisdiction to hear the case, rejecting the argument by Mr. Turaki's faction that the dispute was purely an internal affair of the party. The panel said the appellants could not repackage a clear violation of the party constitution and the Constitution of Nigeria as an internal party affair. Delivering the lead judgment, Justice Uche held that the PDP violated constitutional provisions required before a convention can become valid. He said no valid notice of the convention was served on INEC as required by law.
We have asked our lawyers to collect the certified true copies of the judgments that have just been delivered by the court. The court had promised that the judgments should be ready by tomorrow.
Justice has been done. I want to appreciate the court for being very critical in this judgment. And it's a wake-up call for political parties to be able to ensure that their affairs of the party is being guided by the Constitution and other guidelines.
You know, I wouldn't want to say there's victor and vanquished. I want us to still come together as a party and then play the opposition role in the proper way, not in a way that you want to antagonize and fight people for just for the sake of antagonizing and criticizing. Let us be a good opposition party.
The court also held that the convention held by the PDP was in defiance to a valid subsisting order of the Federal High Court and was contemptuous and a disrespect to the court. The court held that the party failed to allow former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, an opportunity to participate in the convention despite a valid court order directing that he be granted.
The PDP convention for us will be an opportunity for all the groups to put themselves together and see how they can rebuild the party. And that was very important, but some people felt that for their personal interests, to go along and do whatever they wanted to do. Here, the Federal High Court, under Justice Omotosho and Justice Linfu, did say that, look, you cannot violate the laws, be it the Constitution, be it the Electoral Act, be it the INEC electoral guidelines, and their own Constitution you must obey.
Celestina Iria, TVC News, Abuja.
All right. The FCT minister believes that the appeal court ruling will help rebuild the party. Now, gentlemen, at this stage, what do you think is the best option for the PDP?
I don't know. I don't really see what is best option at this time. Because clearly, they left this matter too late. Bukola Saraki says they should not even go to Supreme Court because by the time they are back from the Supreme Court, they won't be able to meet the time ceiling that the electoral body already set for everyone. Let's look at it this way. The appeal courts affirmed that the PDP didn't conduct proper congresses in 14 states.
Okay.
What it means is that if the apex court concurs with the judgment of
the appeal court,
for them to be in good stead with the law, they have to conduct
fresh Congress,
proper congresses in those states, those 14 states. Now, you conduct Congress, local government Congress, you conduct World Congress, you conduct local government, you conduct state Congress. You will now do primary to choose the governorship candidates even for those states. You will do primaries. You do national convention, which is the biggest, the biggest organ, decision-making organ of the party, where the presidential primary will be held. Look at the time that they have. Nobody knows when the Supreme Court will give its judgment. Even if the Supreme Court gives its judgment today, time is still not on their side. You have to conduct e-registration.
Yes. That one is sacrosanct.
Then you move to those congresses, one after another, and primaries. All candidates for elective positions in the general election must emerge before May 30. We've forgotten that May 30 is just
exactly
just a little more than 2 months. So, and then when Bukola Saraki talks about the need for them to simply go and conduct these congresses and conventions, who will spearhead all that? Neither faction is prepared to give in to the other faction. So who will organize?
Who will bring them to the table?
Who will bring everybody together? That is what is important. I liked when he said from the start, a few of us had warned and suggested concerning the risk of traveling this route. We knew that it's going to imperil the party.
Okay.
So, and he's saying that I do know that egos, at this stage, egos have been bruised. However, the distinction between an extraordinary man and a statesman, between an individual and a patriot, between a follower and a frontrunner, is the power to rise above the din and ignore private pursuits to serve the bigger pursuit and public good. So it's making sense that, look, forget this ego, and because at the end of the day, they are not going to achieve anything. The court told you don't go ahead with the convention. You ignore two different orders of the court. You proceeded with it. 14 states had not done primaries. You wanted to do convention.
How is that possible?
You got a court in Ibadan, a backstreet court in Ibadan, to give you
judgment.
The order. Let me not say give them
judgment. Okay, order.
You got to mandate you to take part. To do a convention. A court that does not have jurisdiction over INEC.
That's true.
So INEC can decide, okay, we don't want to even comply by the order of this court. Because it has to be a federal high court that has jurisdiction over INEC. I don't know who advises these people. And as I said yesterday, what have they gained? Because going from TV station to TV station, we say, oh, we are doing this. It is not the solution to your problem. Yes. You have messed up the party. You've messed up the aspirations of people who are genuine members of the party and who saw it as a platform through which their political interests can be realized. But look at the situation now. Time is not on their side. Bukola is concerned about that time because he knows time is not on their side. But for me, I don't even know anything that they can do. I don't know how. And that is how many people who have left the party are thinking. They can see that, look, there's really no hope here. How do you do it?
Okay.
You want to come back from the court. By the time you come back from the court, what time do you have left for all of those stages? Because you must meet those stages.
Meet those stages, yes. All right, gentlemen, we need to go on this quick break. And when we return, the conversation continues. Don't go away. Welcome back. It's still Journalist Hangout. If you just joined us, I still have BKO right here with us and Olabisi DG Fulutile. So we're still talking about the PDP. Now, because in rebuilding the party, how do you think the party should go about it? Just like what BKO said, who should champion it?
Well, I think for now, for the period of next year's election, I think PDP may not be able to participate.
So they should plan for 2031 then?
Well, after 2027, apparently. And if you notice what has been happening in the party, you see that all the governors, they had 11 governors under the platform of PDP after the 2023 election.
Yes.
Of all, 9 of them have already defected. Yeah, it started with the Delta State governor, moved to
Akwa Ibom.
Enugu, Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Rivers, Taraba, just
recently,
yesterday, Zamfara. So, you know, you had
Adamawa.
Adamawa, exactly. So you had 11 governors. You have just 2 now, Bauchi and Oyo. For Oyo and Bauchi, they already are 2 terms. So, but if they have any political ambition of becoming senators or whatever, they have to leave the party. And there are feelers already that Oyo governor is already discussing with ADC.
Okay.
While Bauchi may be in talks with APC. Who knows? Yeah.
Anything is possible.
People suspect that is so, having talks
with APC.
Behind the scene.
Behind the scene. So you can see that any governor or any politician that thinks he has any political ambition against 2027, they are not likely to stay in that party. Remember, the Oyo State governor is also now in a court party. So I think they themselves, they already know that the time is not on their side and they may not be able to achieve much in rebuilding the party, at least against 2027 election. So I guess after that election, all the warring parties will come together and find how they can move the party forward. Yeah, they are the ones that will move themselves forward.
They are the ones that will move themselves forward. Yes. Not anybody. So nobody can do it for them.
No,
they are the ones
that should have found a way to come together to resolve this thing. But it's just ego. People feeling too big to make peace. People feeling that, oh, it has to be my way or the highway. I mean, look at where it has led the party. A great party. Because, look, the people who led a PDP to this problem, most of them have left the party.
Okay.
Most of them. Where is Atiku today? He's gone.
That's true.
In your chair, you that should have stepped down. Because the tradition of the party forbids one region producing both the presidential candidate of the party and the national chairman of the party. This same party, at the height of his greatness, organized an extraordinary national convention just to be able to replace a national chairman. After Goodluck Jonathan had emerged as the candidate of the party.
Just to be
They replaced, yes.
Okay, right
So,
about...
if they could do that at that time, why didn't Iyochiayu listen to those who were piling pressure on him that, look, in the interest of the party, step down?
Okay.
He didn't. He didn't. Just because he was bent on holding on to that position. Greed for power is not a good thing. Where has he led the party now?
Absolutely. All right, we have Awan Hassan calling in. Awan Hassan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Benga. Thank you. Good evening, Madam. Good evening, Benga.
Yeah, good evening.
And good evening, Babajide. Let me speak from the part of politics. Babajide, Benga, and Madam are speaking on the part of journalistic aspect. Let me speak on the part of politics. What is happening to PDP is karma, Babajide. Babajide, if you remember 2003, before the elections under Gobadia INEC, people were saying, INEC and other staff of INEC, I remember, were saying the results were written, that they are just waiting for the day. Obasanjo had written results with his people. They were just waiting for us to go to polls and they will announce elections. It was by the grace of God that Kano and Lagos were left for the people that won. But every other state was muzzled during that election and forced into the PDP. They infiltrated inside AMPP and drove Buhari away, which he had to go because, if you remember, Simon Ifraki was NNPP in Kano, but he was PDP. He was Obasanjo's boy. SARS was NNPP in Borno State Governor, but he was Obasanjo's boy, PDP. So this is exactly what they did to us. In fact, we wasted time because Buhari gave them little life in 8 years. We wasted a lot of time to revenge the little of the huge destruction they have brought. I've never been PDP. I've always been opposition to PDP. So I knew the pains they have put oppositions through before, and it is now coming back to them. When we went to CPC, they also sent in people to distract us, and we won the elections, and they forcefully took it back to them. We formed APC, and we were able to take over Benga. We were able to take over, and from 2015 to 2023, we had a president that was not too much of a politician and did not care, because a lot of the attacks were on him and Ashwaju, being the biggest oppositions. He was fair to them and gave them little life. But we would not give them that life, would not give them that space. If they want to crumble, they will not be in the 2027 elections. They won't be. With what is happening today, they can't cope. And we want them gone. Why is anybody saying, let them put their heads together? We don't want them to put their heads together. Let them continue that ego they have. Let it burst. We will now face ADC again. We will do, because all of them are going to ADC, and they are PDP, and they are the distractors of the country, distractors of other parties, other opposition parties. We are showing them what they did to us. I wonder when people will say we are calling every party to come in, they have forgotten history. People
all right, then, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But so far, so good. 2027 is out of the picture then. All right, gentlemen, let's move